everyone, this is Nikki and I'm so glad to have you on the channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Today we are going to look at lawn fawn cards. A reveal wheel we are not going to make because we did that in our last video. Today we're focusing on coloring in rainbows. This is a card that I did for Scrapbook Pal channel, and then I've got a card that I did for my channel. We're going to look at these wonderful stripes, and I've created a download for you so that you can download all of the information on my website. So that link will be in the description. We're going to start with Copic friendly coloring paper. This is called Express It, and there are different ones out there, but this is one that I really like. It's very smooth. We're going to use the brand new release from Lawn Fawn, and we'll get this stamped out and start coloring. So I'm going to use a Copic friendly ink, which is this Lawn Fawn Jet Black. I'm going to stamp this at least 3 times. I really like a dark black line. So I'm going to use my Misty, stamp this several times, and get lots and lots of images that we can use. Now that I've got all my images, let's get started on the coloring. I'm letting those stamped images dry, and I'm playing around with my rainbow because I know I want to make rainbow letters, and I didn't decide to make the rainbow background until the end. So I'm going to use RV14. These are the darker of my rainbow colors that I will be using in the actual coloring of the little characters in the Ferris wheel. So I'm going to use a 2-color blend for images, and I'm just going to use 1 color here on these stripes. And I am just free-handing these stripes. So the yellow color, I'm going to pop all these up for you, but that yellow color was YR14. The green color is G14, blue color B04, and the purple color is V04. Now you will notice that I did draw myself a little box to make sure that the word that I'm going to cut out of this, which I'm going to cut out the word fun out of this area. So I drew myself a box so I know how far to go with my stripes. And like I said, because I hadn't decided to do this on the background yet, I could have probably cut those letters just straight from the background where it was going to be hidden. But I went on and did this and cut my letters that say fun out of it. And here's how those look. I am adding a little shadow. So I cut the same letters out of black cardstock, and I'm just doing a little offset shadow just to make this stand out on the background so much more. I'll show you in the end photo. This also helps tie in the black strips that I'm going to stamp Have A and Birthday on, and so it kind of just adds a little bit more black because the rest of the front of the card is pastel rainbowy, so I just wanted to kind of tie those 2 things in as well. Now for the rainbow background, because I was going to do an entire A2 size, I decided that I would use this ruler just to keep me in a diagonal plane. I do think using the chisel tip of the markers helps, and I would just every now and then check and just make sure my lines were straight, but I'm pretty much doing 1 perfect line of the chisel tip. That just kind of helps you keep the area about the same size. So it's a quick tip. And don't freak out if you go a little bit more or you go into the other line like I just did with the purple. These are Copic markers. They blend well together, and sometimes I like the overlap. I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm basically doing, with each stripe, I'm making them about 2 strokes of the marker usually, unless I just miss a part, but I'm not going in and just heavy color in. I'm just trying to get color down and make sure. So that one I did a few because my line was a little uneven, but all of it looks very similar. You can't tell a huge difference if you go over one line a whole lot of times and another one not enough. I also tried to make sure there weren't any white gaps in between the stripes. As I get more to this middle, since this is going to be a background, we're going to see the edges. We're not going to see the middle quite as much, so I get a little bit more loose with my coloring here and just make sure I've got my edges looking correct. There will be a little area where the reveal wheel cuts in, and you'll see a little bit more of it. I'm going to pop it up in the screen so you see what I mean. So you see, since I've got that whole front panel over it, I could easily cut something out of the middle of the back of this. So just remember to do that. You can make some really cool sentiments and things like that just from the middle of your panel. Look at how amazing this looks. It's just a great way to use your Copics from something else. You can create patterns and cool backgrounds. Now I'm going to show you the coordinating colors that we're going to use to create our Ferris wheel and our cute characters. I'm starting with RV13 as my light pink color, and I'm just doing, so there's 5 colors and there's 5 of the little Ferris wheel baskets, so I'm kind of sticking with that. There are not 5 areas of this little circle area around the Ferris wheel, so I just kind of made it to where it was going to be 5 colors. I did a little extra pink on it, but didn't think that anyone else would notice. Once I colored that first basket, I realized actually I don't need to color the baskets that are on the Ferris wheel piece. I need to color these individual baskets because I'm going to put little cats and all these little critters behind them. So you don't really have to color the baskets on that actual Ferris wheel. And I'm using N3 for all of the gray right here. I may go back and add some highlights with some other colors, but I realized I should probably just go ahead and do all the gray first, and then we'll go to all these colors. So I went and did that off screen, and then I'm going to add R14. So this is the darker color, and I'm just going to go along each of these baskets and put it right at the edge, and that just gives it that kind of spotlight look. So one little line, you can go back in and blend with your other color if you want, but I think it looks fine if you just make a line. And to keep highlighting consistent, I did it around the areas here at the Ferris wheel as well. For the orange, I'm starting with YR00, and now that you get on a roll, you can start coloring multiple things at once. My highlight is the YR14. And you see me hesitate here because I'm trying to decide where I want those darker highlights to be. I want them to look consistent on the whole wheel, so I end up going along those same inside edges for every single one. I do come back to this one and give it just a little bit of blending with that YR02. I just felt like those colors were a little too different, so you can always do that. Then I added YG11, and the whole theme of keeping this card consistent in colors means I'm definitely going to color my frog those same green colors. It just helps make the card look cohesive. My darker color is G14, so I'm adding those as well. And remember, all this will be in the description, and I do have that PDF for you to download all of these colors. They work so well together. So we're going to do V01 and V04 for our highlights here. And then I'm not going to do the whole reveal wheel, but I'm going to show you the front of this card and how I made it. I went on and lined up my Ferris wheel so that that window will be at the right area. And remember, last week I did an entire video on making this reveal wheel, so I don't want to take up your time when we're talking more about our color schemes today. I'm going to use some tape because I'm going to create some pavement and a sky. So I'm making a straight line, as straight as I possibly can here with my T-ruler, so that I can get the area that's going to be the pavement covered up. So I'm going to cover this bottom part up so I can ink blend on the top. So I'm not being super careful with this. I just want to get some tumbled glass kind of in the center of this area, and then I'm going to come in with a darker blue on the outside. And the reason I'm not super worried, I'm going to use Salty Ocean on the outside, is because I'm going to use the new Cloudy stencil, and I'm going to use some paste on that. So it's going to cover up some of this background. You're still going to see the beautiful color, but if you mess up your lines or you don't feel like it's the best ink blended background you've ever done, no worries. It's going to be covered up and it's going to look amazing. So we are going to use this fun Altenew embossing paste. Hopefully I have enough still left in here to do this. I may have to open a new one. But I've also got the Cloudy stencil, and I am just going to fill in these areas. When you're putting this embossing paste, and this is a little drier because it's almost out, in case you're like, is it really that thick? Not always. This is my very end of a batch, so you'll see it when I open up a new one. But this makes the fluffiest clouds. It has a texture to it, and it just really looks amazing. So I'm going to use this and create lots of clouds on this background that are just going to be great white highlights to look amazing. And look how it looks. Don't they look so cute? I let these dry for about an hour to 2 hours, and then I'm going to use the layering stencil. So this pack of stencils comes with 2, and it kind of shows you where, can you see those little lines? There's lines that show you where the first stencil made clouds, and so I'm lining it up, and it just gives you this perfect look. So I'm going to decide if I want all of these clouds on here or not, and I'll put some tape over the ones that I decide I don't want, and then I'm going to go back and add that stencil paste. Alright, so here's how it looks, and you can see I did mess up down there at the bottom left. I got a little bit through a cloud that I forgot to cover up with tape, but it's still wet, so I'm able just to wipe it off. It leaves a little bit of a white mark, but remember, I'm going to have so much stuff on this card, I don't think there's going to be anybody who notices that area. Now I'm going to put my Ferris wheel together, and I was going to show you how to do that. See how there's a little basket that goes over it? Then you can add your little, I used liquid glue, and then I'm going to stick my little guys in here. And remember, I'm leaving the top one open because the top one's going to be where that wheel rolls by. So it's a little tricky. It might be better to use a double-sided adhesive and stick your little character down there. I just like the glue because then I can move things around. And when you are die cutting these little baskets, there's always that white border, you know, that goes around your die cuts. But on these, that white border kind of cuts off the look of your cute little cat or your reindeer or whatever is in your Ferris wheel. So I actually took a pair of scissors and cut this down to where it was just the metal, that you don't see that white part. And do you see there that you can see my little bear's hands? If I had the white stripe there, it would cut off a little bit of that image, and I don't think it makes it look quite as cohesive. Now once I've got my Ferris wheel together, I can glue it in place. I did skip in the video doing the brick on the bottom there. All that is lost shadow and hickory smoke, of course. Like I said, put it in the description. But I just used the brick stencil from Lawn Fawn, and I redid my masking tape so that I covered up the other area. You do have to wait till your clouds are dry to do that, but I just put a little piece of tape along that straight line again so that I could ink blend below it. Now I'm attaching this. I want my little Ferris wheel open area to fit perfectly where it is here, and you do need to hold it down with that texture paste to make sure everything sticks. So I've got this little window that's going to rotate and have the cutest little characters in there. Okay, so I have my fully assembled reveal wheel here with all this foam tape. I've got to get the sticky side ready. And then you see I've got pencil lines around my little characters there because I was making sure that I stamped them in the right place. I'm going to use an electric eraser. This is something Jennifer McGuire uses, and it's just so easy to get your lines off really well. I also love the white mono eraser, but my kids have taken it, so I'm gonna have to use my little electric one for now. But look at how well that does. It takes those lines off great. Now we just need to line this up. So we're gonna line it up, make sure that we've got all of our edges straight and that we can see our little picture, and press it down. Now it's time to add our A2 piece that we created, that beautiful rainbow. Like I said, I hope that if you create this that you will cut something out of the middle of it. I feel terrible that I didn't do that because I wasted it. But it just really could be a really cute sentiment, and you can make a whole nother card. So I'm using adhesive tape, and I'm going to stick this down. You want to really look at it, make sure you've got it even. So I'm going to use a T-ruler just to make sure that I have things lined up. I've worked so hard on this card. I do not want to mess up putting this on the background. And you see how bright and beautiful that just coordinates so well with the card. It also really helps the little wheel show up because the wheel is white. So I think it helps people know what to do here. But I am going to put a stamp that says "Turn Me" so that we'll see that you're supposed to turn this little wheel. Okay, and here it is. I'm just stamping "Turn Me." This is from a reveal wheel stamp set made just for this, so it fits perfectly in this area. And I'm using my favorite super dark black ink called VersaFine Clair. I will make sure to link it for you. Now we just need to put our have a wheelie fun birthday on here, and I picked the word fun because it fits well with this other little stamp. You could put have a wheelie great day, things like that, but when you've got this small area of real estate to put your sentiment and make something extra exciting with it, you just need to make sure you plan it out. And I had planned this out in advance. Remember, we added the black behind those striped letters so that they stood out. You see how that makes a difference here? One, it coordinates with those black heat embossed sentiments, the part that says have a wheelie and birthday, but it also really just makes this stick out. And I'm using glue for this reason because a lot of times I have to move my letters around, and it does not change the color of my background. I'm using Barely Arts glue. I'm using a very tiny amount, so I'm not messing up the background when I do that, but I needed to hold a little pressure, and I kind of let that other one get away from me. and then I'm gonna put the rest of these down. This is such a detailed card. I hope that you enjoyed making it with me. If you want to know how to make reveal wheels, please look at the video that I did last week. I go into great detail on tips and tricks on making this little wheel. And yes, these cards do take a long time, but they are some of my favorites, and I think people just really love that interactive element. So if you're making it for someone special, this is a great card to give them. Okay, here it is in action. It is so cute. Please tell me in the comments if you like doing these kinds of cards, if you have suggestions for other videos. I love hearing about it, and I will make sure at the end of this video to pop up one I think that you will be interested in. If you haven't done it, hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you go and look at the links in the description for all of these details to be able to get the freebie, all kinds of stuff. I will see you soon. Bye!